Okay. So first of all, I would like to express an apology for taking so much time to post this video. I'm sorry about this. It's been out of my control. But anyway, you will have enough time to practice over the next 10 to 15 days or so. Okay? So our chapter concerning phonological rules is essentially reserved for the idea of turning informal English phonological rules, informal rules in plain English, into formal notations. So the objects of the chapter, okay, so this is our goal, okay? Our goal is translate, okay? We translate informal phonological rules, okay? That's okay. So we'll be starting as P rules each time, so we don't repeat this all the time. Okay, so translate informal phonological rules into formal notation. Okay, into formal notations. That is, if we take, for example, an informal rule like a consonant is deleted in word final position, okay, and then we write it in plain English. A consonant is deleted in word final position if the following word begins with a consonant. Okay, so if we take that rule, all right, we'll try to translate it into formal notations, and that's exactly what we're being concerned with. All right, so we introduce the formal notations. Okay, so the symbol C, of course, as you may have realized this before, stands for consonant. Okay, the symbol V for vowel. All right, sorry about that. Okay, for vowel. Okay, G for glide. So these are the, as you may have guessed, these are the major class features. Okay, so consonant, vowel, and glide. Okay. We'll take this symbol, okay? This symbol that stands for word boundary, okay? Word boundary. So, for example, if we are concerned with a process that happens in word initial position, okay? So this would represent word initial position, okay? So this is word initial position, all right? And you may guess, yes, you guessed right, so this is word final position, okay? So this is word final position, right? Within the word, we sometimes need to say that a process happens between morphemes inside the same word. For example, if okay, this is actually we're considering here the morpheme boundary. Okay, so morpheme boundary. All right, so if we take, for example, a word like this, okay, any words like C, B, C, and then, and then we have, for example, V, C, okay, so that's the word, okay, that's the word. Okay, let me just, okay. So this is the word, that will be the stem, okay? And this will be the suffix. This represents the morpheme boundary. Now, if our process, for example, says the vowel of the suffix is deleted when the stem ends with a vowel, to avoid having two contiguous vowels, that is the prohibition against hiatus, then we will need to say, to use the morpheme boundary, in the formal rule, okay? Fine. We will need a number of other symbols, okay? This symbol, for example, this, okay, let me start first with this first. Now, this symbol stands for deletion. So this is saying a consonant is deleted. Okay, so this is deletion. All right. In this case, for example, here we would say that the vowel is deleted. Okay. Now, when is this vowel deleted? It's right here. When it is in the suffix, it follows the morpheme boundary, and before the morpheme boundary, you have a vowel. So we would do this. That's the stem, okay? Because we delete this vowel because of this. So we need to mention this one too. Alright, so, and then we will do this. Now, this is saying a vowel is deleted when it is here, in this case here, after the morpheme boundary, and before the morpheme boundary, we have another vowel. In other words, this rule is avoiding this situation. Okay, we're avoiding this situation of having two contiguous vowels. So now this, on the other hand, we have this which stands for insertion. Now this rule, this formal notation is saying a glide is inserted. Okay, so we insert a glide. So this stands for insertion. Now let's take an example. Okay. Suppose we have a rule like the case in Turkish, for example, where we have, for example, okay, now gaze in Turkish. All right, I don't remember exactly what this means anyway, but I remember the word. And then we have an affix. Okay, that's we put an affix right here. Okay. So we put the infix right here. So gaze, and then we put the infix inside of the word. Okay, to say this is the negative form. So this is a verb, probably the verb come. You may remember this better than I do, really. Okay, I know that some of you are keen on Turkish language, and so they remember these things exactly each time they hear about a new word in Turkish. But anyway, so that's the infix. Now, what happens is that here, you notice that here we have, again, a situation of two contiguous vowels. That's the, remember, that's hiatus. You guessed right. Okay, so, and we apply the principle of prohibition against hiatus. And so we insert the glide between these two vowels. And so, the actual word is this, okay, and you hear, not Gilni, you hear Gilnese, and we insert the glide to break the vowel cluster. So this would, this rule, for example, we might write it informally and say, A glide is inserted between two vowels, okay, to break the vowel cluster or to apply the principle of the prohibition against hiatus. Now you might write it this way. But if you are asked to translate this informal phonological rule into formal notation, then what you're supposed to do is this. In other words, you put it into this form, into formal notations. This would be, okay, so we insert a glide. That's insertion. Okay, what is inserted? A glide. Fine, this glide. Which glide is inserted? Well, we need to mention that too, to be very precise. Okay, so we need to say which glide, because this is the glide year. Alright, so, and we need to say, how do you distinguish year from word, if you remember? Okay, yes, year, that's minus back, minus round. Right, so that's minus back, minus round. Fine, okay, good. So that's what happens. What happens is this, the glide is inserted. Which glide is the glide year? Where? Between two vowels. And so that's what we do it this way, right? So we insert it right here. That's your rule. So this rule is a formal notation of the informal rule saying insert a glide between two vowels to break the vowel cluster. Okay, so that's the final representation of that rule in formal notation. Okay. Now we have seen a number of rules. Okay, we've seen rules of assimilation, rules of insertion, rules for deletion. Okay, rules for major cross change, etc. Okay, we'll try to represent, to take examples of each, okay, and represent them using the formal notation. Okay, so the rule, of course, we need to mention this first. Okay, formal phonological rules contain three parts. Okay, they contain, the first part is, let's okay, let me now, when we have, for example, so the rules contain, three parts. Okay, A changes to B in context C. Okay, so A represents the segment that changes. So, segment that changes. Okay. B represents the change, what happens. Okay. And C represents the context of the change. All right. Now look. Let us take an example to illustrate the point. So we have A, let's take A as the sound N, alright, and B, okay, as the sound M. So this is saying the sound, the alveolar nasal becomes bilabial. The slash separates the context from the change. Okay? So here we'll have the context. So we'll say when it is here and it is followed by P or B. Okay? Remember, we said that historically the word possible, okay, was actually impossible. And because of the bilabial stop here, this N has changed into M. Alright? So, how do we do this? Well, here, to give a complete formal phonological group, we need to change these sounds into feature matrices. Okay? In other words, we will have to use this and say consonant now. Feature matrix for n, okay, that's plus consonantal, minus syllabic, plus sonorant, plus nasal, plus anterior, plus coronal. Okay? This will change to n. Now, pay attention. On the right side of the arrow, we mention only the feature or features that change. We don't repeat the whole thing. We mention only the ones that change. So, how does n become n? All of these remain the same, except this one. So which one is changing? It's this one which is changing. Plus coronal becomes minus coronal. Where? Here, when it is followed by p or b. Okay, so we have to use again a feature matrix for these two sounds. Okay, so that's consonant, which is plus consonantal, alright, minus syllabic, okay, minus sonorant, minus continuant, plus anterior, minus coronal. Now you are describing p and b. Okay? Now, so this is an example of an assimilation group. Alright? So, what we have seen is what type of process is this? It's assimilation. Alright? So, the alveolar nasal assimilates the point of articulation of the bilabial stop, and it becomes also bilabial. So it's going this way. So this is what we would call this a partial regressive assimilation.